Homes in Surrey, BC just simply aren't selling. And it's not just homes in Surrey, it's happening everywhere. Right now, thousands of listings are sitting on the market just collecting dust. Buyers aren't biting, sellers are frustrated, and if you're in the market, you might be wondering, what the hell is going on? Well, today I'm going to break it down. One of my biggest regrets early on in my career was not understanding these 5 indicators that I could have brought to my clients a lot sooner. But the good news is today you're going to understand them in depth. They're going to help explain why properties aren't moving right now and how to use them to make better real estate decisions and what you need to do if you actually want to sell. This is information that is critical if you are buying a property, considering entering the market, selling a property, or considering investing in a home in real estate. If that sounds good, let's get into them right now.
You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right.
One of the absolute most critical things that you can do is pay attention to the months of inventory available on the market. In the business, we call this the sales to active ratio. And this is a number that I am always watching incredibly closely, not only for the homes that we're selling, but also for the people that we're helping purchase homes. And one of the biggest reasons for this is because this can help me predict exactly where the market might be headed. Let me put this into perspective a little bit. The sales to active ratio, or really easier said, the supply and the demand of the market, really tells me how many people are actually buying homes versus how many people are actually trying to sell a home at the same time. There's all sorts of different levels of inventory and lots of opinions on what the levels are and what they mean. But effectively, what you need to know is there are different market conditions that either benefit a home buyer, a home seller, or they're generally balanced and no one is really disadvantaged or advantage over the other party. While normally a balanced market is considered to be about 15 to 20% of the inventory that's available selling each month, which I know sounds horrible. 20%, as an example, is only 1 out of 5 homes that are available on the market selling. But let's put that into perspective. Even in the COVID era, when properties were flying off the shelves, wild multiple offers, and prices skyrocketing, only roughly about 50% of the properties that were coming to the market were still selling each and every month. Not every property that goes up for sale sells. So 1 out of 5 is actually quite a healthy market. And in most markets, we would consider that to be advantage towards the seller. What does the advantage to the seller mean? Well, this just means that they might have more advantage over the buyer. The days on market might be shorter. They might not have to have as many showings through. They might even get a better chance of achieving their price, or maybe slightly higher than what the market value of their home might be. Flip that on the opposite end into a buyer's market where the buyer is the one advantaged. This means that they can look all day. They have many properties to look at. The days on market are typically higher. And if the properties and the market conditions remain in this area, that means prices likely are going to begin to soften. We're going to touch on that a little bit more later, but we're also going to talk about a balanced market real quick because if you're smart enough, you understand what balanced conditions mean. So what is actually happening out there right now? Well, the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board reported that last month, detached homes across the entire region were only selling at a rate of about 10.1%. This is only 1 home selling for every 10 that is listed. Townhomes were much better, teetering on the edge of going into a seller's market, coming in at about 19.6%, or roughly 2 for every 10, or 1 out of 5 homes that were coming to the market were actually selling. Apartments, well, they fell somewhere in between, coming in at 13.9%, seen by many as still being in a buyer's market territory similar to that of a detached home. Now, understanding what type of product you have or what type of product you're interested in and what is actually happening with the supply and the demand of that particular product in the neighborhood you're looking is crucial to understanding how to best navigate the sale or the purchase of that property. If you're selling a home, you need to know how many months of inventory your specific type of home has, and not just in your city, but in your neighborhood and at your price point. If you don't, you're flying blind. The second key indicator is what is happening with the property ladder. And one of the biggest challenges about why properties aren't selling as well as they used to is that property ladder, since we had massive increases in value and price during the explosion of prices during COVID, well, the rungs on that property ladder got absolutely stretched. Back in the day, moving up the property ladder was simple. You bought your first place, you built some equity, you sold it, and you moved up to something bigger. But in today's market, the jump between price points is absolutely massive. Let's say you own a condo worth $600,000. Well, the next step up is a townhome at $900,000 or more. A detached, easily $1.5 million. People are having bigger challenges upgrading simply because the leap in prices is too big for their incomes to be able to deal with. So fewer move up buyers means fewer sales across the market. The third on our list is not something that's going to surprise you. It's simply mortgage rate increases. And there's no shocker here. Higher mortgage rates means fewer buyers are able to buy properties. At the worst point during COVID, you could actually get a 5-year fixed mortgage for about 1.5%. In fact, 5 years ago, from the date of filming this video, you could get a 5-year fixed mortgage for 2.5%. But either way, they were both ridiculously low interest rates at that time and historically speaking. Today, you're looking at rates of anywhere between 4 to 4.5%, which are actually down from months previous. That means that the same monthly payment today buys you a way cheaper home. Imagine somebody that could afford a mortgage of, let's say, $600,000. For an increase of 0.25% on a mortgage, a home borrower or a mortgagee is going to pay roughly about $15 more for every $100,000 borrowed. So let's say at today's current mortgage rates, if you needed to borrow $600,000, it would actually cost you, based on the rates being roughly 1.5% higher, an additional $540 per month just to borrow the same amount of money. Buyers are looking at their budgets, doing the math, and saying, nope, not worth it. So as a seller, you have to price your home as though you're competing for a smaller buyer pool because, well, you actually are. And of course, if you're buying, you have to look at what you can actually afford rather than what you may have been able to afford back years in the past. Key indicator number 4 is the increase in competition and stale new construction. It's not just resale homes sitting. Presale condos, new construction projects, and assignments are flooding the market. A lot of these homes were bought as investments, but now with rates up and prices stabilizing, many investors are looking to offload them, which means more competition, more listings, and more choice for buyers. If you're selling, you're not just competing with other resale homes, you're competing with new construction properties and also off-market properties, ones that the developers held back thinking that they were going to make profits on, never released to the market. Well, they're trying to get rid of those right now too. So effectively, you're competing with resale homes, brand new homes, incentives from developers, and desperate investors looking to cut their losses. If you don't understand this fundamental, you will be a home seller that gets caught in the cycle of reducing and reducing and reducing your asking price, but still not finding success in selling your home. The fifth and final indicator on our list is really just something that is fundamental, but it is always prevalent in any sort of market condition. And that is sellers that are interested in selling, but they're simply not committed to putting themselves in the positions to actually do so. Here's the hard truth. Most sellers don't actually want to sell their home. And you might be scratching your head, what the hell is this guy talking about? They say they do, but really they just want someone to give them yesterday's price in today's market. The result is overpriced listings, endless price reductions, and homes sitting on the market for months. And if you're serious about selling, you need to ask yourself, am I actually ready to do what it takes to sell this home, or am I just listing it because I hope I'll get lucky? Home buyers can smell an uncommitted home seller from miles away. That means if your home is priced wrong, if your home isn't staged appropriately, if it's not marketed appropriately, you're just helping the competition sell their home faster. So you're a smart person and you're watching this and you're thinking, well, now I know these 5 fundamentals, but where does that leave me? If you're a home seller, you need to be realistic. You need to study the market, understand your competition, and price your home accordingly. Otherwise, expect it to sit. If you're a home buyer, you need to be patient, you need to be strategic, and you need to understand the current market conditions. You're going to want to look at things like months of inventory, competition, and interest rates before making a move. The best deals come from when you're informed. And if you're someone who's just watching the market, you're going to want to pay attention to these 5 indicators, especially the first one, because that's going to give you an idea of exactly where the market is heading. And that's not the only indicator that you're going to want to watch if you're someone thinking about entering into the real estate market. In the video coming up next, I'm going to show you my exact home buyer's presentation, the same one that we give to everybody when we onboard them as a client to help ensure it's a success. They avoid all the pitfalls and they understand the market conditions intimately. You watch that video and it's going to set you up for some major success. And the good news is it's coming up next. So I'll see you over there. When you're buying a home, you really never know who is giving you advice. And that could be true for somebody like me, where you're watching this on YouTube, but that can also be true for any real estate professional in the province of British Columbia.